Welcome back to episode number 28 of ECW CyberSlam, and we begin outside the building. Rhino stood beside a burning trash can. Rhino says that all he's heard all week is about the great match between CM Punk and Masato Tanaka, but this week he is going to be the talking point of CyberSlam. After he says that, he pulls out the ECW Television Championship, the one that he stole last week, calling it a fake title. We see that CM Punk's nameplate is on the belt. He puts it back in the bag he produced it from before placing it into the burning trash can. Rhino sends a message to CM Punk telling him the only real TV title is in Rhino's possession and the only way to get it back is to fight Rhino for it. So it's a 48 D+ to start the show. Rhino improvising well, but it's not really a very good segment. Hopefully Punk has got a promo later, he can bring that back up. But before that, the commentators have their say condemning the actions of Rhino before heading into a in-depth recap from last week's main event. While overshadowed by that incident involving Rhino, they say that match between CM Punk and Masato Tanaka has been the buzz of the wrestling business all week and has brought even more attention to the revived ECW. They remind fans that watching CyberSlam every week on ECW.com is the only place to guarantee they'll witness the most exciting, intense and dynamic in-ring action in the entire world. We then go back outside. Punk not doing well without a script, which is disappointing, but we head back outside to see the now unattended burning trash can until CM Punk arrives on the scene. He's joined by a crew member who looks to retrieve the title from the trash can. CM Punk is fired up and furious to see his title belt destroyed and tells Rhino that if he wants him, he'll face him next week and the TV title will be on the line. Out of that, we go into the opening match of the night. It was a decent wrestling match, but didn't have much heat. Homicide and the Havana Pitbulls of the Hustle defeating Little Guido, Trent Acid and Johnny Cashmere. Homicide pinning Trent Acid with a frog splash. Homicide sustaining a injury there, which is worrying. Not sure how serious it'll be, but it didn't seem to affect his performance. Him and Rocky Romero putting in good performances, as well as Little Guido there, and it's just a decisive victory for the Hustle. And there is heat on Johnny Cashmere for causing the injury to Homicide via his botch, and Trent Acid is high on drugs, so a really bad night for that team. Trent Acid has had one too many chances. Cashmere, it's an accident, but Acid, definitely, it could be his final night in ECW. The victorious trio stand tall after the match, another successful win for the Hustle. Homicide, if he can stand, stands between the tag team, I think it was clavicle injury, so he probably should be able to stand. Homicide stands between the tag team champions, shouting down the camera that the Hustle still run ECW. We then get a backstage segment. Raven seen sitting, as he always does, in a dark corner of the building. He is approached by Tommy Dreamer. Still conflicted by recent events, Dreamer's quite tentative, but says that he doesn't care about what happens after tonight's match, but if they're to beat Heyman's henchmen, they need to work together. Raven clearly isn't interested in hearing this and doesn't want to strategize for the match, getting up without saying anything and walking off. We then get a video package looking back at the career-threatening injury suffered by the Sandman at the hands of Sonny Siaki a few months ago. The reason for that is because up next, the Sandman makes his in-ring return. Basically, the entire match is him beating the hell out of Doring with his kendo stick. He's taken out a lot of frustration on Danny Doring. It's a very bad match, but the Sandman's back in action and he picks up a decisive, dominant win. Drunk again. I wanted to bring him back, but he's probably not going to wrestle too many matches for us either. Trent Acid and Sandman could possibly have wrestled their last matches for us here tonight. And he was wasted on... Yeah, we can't have him in the ring like that, especially after an injury. Anyway, after the match, we're setting up an angle that's probably never going to get to see any fruition now because of that, but the Sandman stands tall following a successful victory, raising his Singapore cane and grabbing a can of beer. As Sandman goes to light up a cigarette, the Extreme Horsemen come down to the ring. Steve Corino leads C.W. Anderson, Stevie Richards and Paul Burchill in surrounding Sandman, making it clear that if they wanted to, they could take him out just like they did to Terry Funk. The Sandman is ready to swing his cane, but of course is vastly outnumbered until he is joined by Balls Mahoney. Mahoney with a steel chair slips past Steve Corino, entering the ring and going back to back with the Sandman, ready for a fight. Balls and Sandman's incredible resolve results in Steve Corino, C.W. Anderson and Stevie Richards jumping down from the apron. Paul Burchill still appears intent on heading into the ring, but is instructed by Steve Corino to leave with the rest of them. Another terrible segment. We go into I really hope that'd do better as well. This has been a very disappointing episode so far. Elijah Burke confronting Paul Heyman in the back, demanding to know where Kevin Furtig is. Heyman tells him that he won't get anywhere by demanding things from Paul Heyman, but since he's more than happy to see Burke sign his own death warrant, he'll give him Kevin Furtig next week. We then get an interview with Rob Van Dam. He is asked about the current situation involving Rhino, CM Punk and the ECW titles. RVD says that if Rhino wanted to be the ECW World and Television Champions from the get-go, he should have been here fighting for ECW to be brought back like he was and like Tommy Dreamer was. Instead, Rhino had been fired from their old workplace and was working elsewhere. Van Dam says that Rhino only has himself to blame, but like CM Punk, he's ready to fight Rhino with the title on the line whenever he wants it. So that's a decent segment. Been a night of bad ratings, but hopefully Punk and Rob Van Dam's promos can help us going forward, as well as hopefully this main event. Before that main event, a video package looks back at the segment between Raven and Tommy Dreamer last week, where Raven explained the only reason he saved Tommy Dreamer at Heat Wave is because he wanted to be the one to end his career. The two were then attacked by Heyman's personal security team, the Chief of ECW announcing that this match would go down in the main event of tonight's show. A 48D plus and an injury to Tommy Dreamer. This night has been a complete disaster. Raven and Tommy Dreamer picking up a victory over the personal security team. During the match, Sonny Siaki and Xavier came down to try and help the personal security team. Of course, the hustle still associated with Paul Heyman. Sabu and Rob Van Dam came out to even the odds. They brawled to the back with Xavier and Sonny Siaki. This meant that with stereo DDTs, Raven and Tommy Dreamer could pick up a victory. Raven's first match in ECW since he returned, a 38 rating, is really disappointing. All round a fairly average main event, and this is probably going to get us back in the D pluses. After the match and a chaotic main event to CyberSlam, Tommy Dreamer and Raven stand tall in the ring, the most unlikely of partners picking up a decisive victory. The referee raised the two men's hands, but in a repeat of Heat Wave having dispatched of Paul Heyman's personal security team, Raven hit a DDT to Tommy Dreamer. The commentators couldn't even pretend to be surprised, nor could Tommy Dreamer, as Raven sat with his arms outstretched in the middle of the ring, laughing maniacally as Dreamer laid out cold on the canvas. A 54 C-, just creeping into the C- there. I really expected a worse rating for that because it was a very poor show from top to bottom. Again, Punk and Rob Van Dam probably saving us there. Really not happy with the rating and the episode overall, but hopefully next week we can make up for that. We've got that huge main event, CM Punk versus Rhino for the ECW Television Championship, and I can confirm there will be an announcement from Paul Heyman, a very big announcement regarding the pay-per-view future of ECW. Just a quick post-show update. I did say that I was potentially going to fire Trent Acid and the Sandman, but instead I'm going to send both of them to rehab. We'll be paying them for the extent of their contract. Hopefully they can come back clean and contribute to ECW when they're available.